Hello everyone, I'm Michaela Kathleen, and in this video, I'm doing my April reading wrap-up. I read 5 books in April, which is quite a bit for me, and I started with a reread of Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. And I know you must be wondering, why would I reread the worst piece of trash ever written? And I will tell you, it is because back when this came out, I did not know that annotating was a thing, nor would I have done it if I did know. It just wouldn't have even crossed my mind. I was very much a keep books in pristine condition kind of person. I maybe would have made an exception for this one because of how bad it is, but I didn't know that it was going to be that bad going into it. This was the good old days when she hadn't betrayed Harry and everything she stood for. But, so I thought it would be fun to reread it and just tear it apart with annotations. But like, even that was just not that fun. But so I went into it with a few like highlighter colors picked out and what they would mean. For example, yellow was going to be contradicts canon. Orange, who the fuck is this? Because none of the characters in this thing are the characters from the books. And then pink, just a general this is insane. And yeah, I just didn't annotate it as much as I thought I would. I'm still not like a huge annotator, so I think it just doesn't super come naturally to me. And honestly, I ended up just writing more comments than actually highlighting. But I know I did highlight somewhere, jeez. But yeah, the time turner thing, I guess that's the entire thing. That's the entire plot. And it contradicts canon. Voldemort having a kid so deeply contradicts canon. It is just not who he is as a character. And yeah, honestly, I just don't have like a ton to say about this one. It's trash. We all know it's trash. I think I've kind of like already like re-erased it from my memory a little bit because it's just so bad, but also like not even bad in a way that I found entertaining like I kind of hoped I would with the whole annotating it thing. So moving right along, after that I read The Greatest Love Story Ever Told by Nick Offerman and Megan Mullally. And unfortunately this one wasn't great for me either. I felt like it wasn't super detailed, it wasn't as funny as I thought it would be, it just wasn't super entertaining for me. It's presented very much in like an interview format, so it might be a little bit better in audiobook with their actual voices, although I know them both pretty well, at least as their more famous characters. So I still felt like I could hear them in my head fine. But yeah, I really think even in audiobook, I wouldn't have liked this one very much. It didn't feel like there was a lot to it. Some of the jokiness between them was just kind of awkward to me. So yeah, this was also a miss for me. Then after that, I read No Offense by Meg Cabot, author of The Princess Diaries. And I DNF'd this one. Really a bad reading month. This one, mostly I just found the male love interest to be incredibly annoying. I read this one on a trip, and I brought 2 books on that trip. So I stuck with this one for quite a while because I wanted to make sure that I didn't end up accidentally finishing the second book before I finished the trip and then had nothing to read during the plane ride. But yeah, once I got to that last night of the trip, I was like, okay, I'm done with this one. Gonna move on to the other book that I brought with me for the journey back home. And that book was Internment by Samira Ahmed. And this was the first book of the month that I actually enjoyed reading. Definitely was a quantity, not quality month. So yes, I did enjoy this one overall. I didn't love it. It started out really strong, but then it really kind of did take a bit of a dive. I did finish it, but I feel like once the main character got to the internment camp, it just all took a turn for the worse. This is a near future novel in which Muslim Americans are being sent to internment camps because of a certain president. And I'll tell you what, reading it in 2024, kind of stressful. But yeah, I just wish this one hadn't focused so much on the love interests. I also really wish it hadn't had a love triangle. Our main character ends up sort of kind of having a love triangle going on with her boyfriend outside of the camp from before she got sent to the camp, and a guard. And spoilers, the guard ends up getting killed off at the end, I think to avoid the awkwardness of the fact that there was kind of a love triangle happening with him. So it just all felt really unnecessary, and with such a heavy topic, just would have been better without, in my mind. That's not to say there couldn't be a love story at all. Obviously, love still happens in these situations, but this love triangle was just not it. Also, as the book went on, our main character ended up having so much main character energy. Like, the whole story was about her, which she's the main character, that's how it works. But like, the entire camp was just focused on this one random teenage girl in the camp. And it was one of those things where like, these other characters are doing like these very minor things and are getting like hauled off to be tortured, and then our main character is doing kind of much more major things and just nothing is happening to her, it's fine. And then yeah, just some of her behavior was just kind of weird. And it's one of those stories where all the teenagers are just kind of doing all the progressing of the story and doing all the organizing and taking all the risks, which again is not to say that teenagers can't do these things, but it's just strange that no adult at any point in the book ever really does anything to help their cause. We also had a pretty dumb, cartoonish villain. Some of the things that the guy who's running the camp does, I feel like, again, an adult would do a better job at doing this job that he's trying to do. He's just straight up evil with like no brains. The overthrowing of the camp also felt just too easy. And I realize this is a YA novel, so it didn't want to have, and also like, you want to have hope. You don't want to be like, we're all just gonna die. But at the same time, it just didn't feel realistic either. So yeah, overall, really enjoyed the beginning. I do think it's like a really important, good topic, but I wish it would have been handled better throughout the length of the book, partly because of how important the topic is. So then finally in April, I read Lunch in Paris by Elizabeth Bard, which looks like just a fun little romance, and I knew it had recipes in it, but I did not realize until I actually read the back cover that it's a memoir. I thought it was just a fictional, fun little light romance. It was a light romance, but it's a memoir. And this was probably my favorite read of the month, just because it was a fun read. I really love the idea of France. I took French in high school, so for someone like me with a very petite grasp of the French language, it was fun to read the like 3 to 5 word sentences, simple sentences, and know what they meant and be able to feel proud of myself for being able to read 5 words in French. And then also the recipes was a fun idea. I think this is something that other people have done, but this is the first time I've read a memoir with recipes, so it was a novel experience for me. And I did mark up all the intriguing looking ones, although they are all really intimidating. So yeah, just a fun read. If you have an interest in France and or cooking, I would recommend. So that was it for all of the books that I read in April. I read a lot, but not a lot of good books. Let me know down below what you read in April. Thanks for watching. Remember, words matter.